So Peyton, are we okay? We're Goldilocks. God, I love you guys so much.
You can just feel the love.
The 80s. 80s music.
Oh, man.
Journey.
Straight up.
You've been listening to that lately.
It's energizing to me.
That's a great word for it.
It was a fun-loving time. The energy, Jump, Bon Jovi.
Bon Jovi I was never really bought into. He was such a showman. He was such a showman, Bon Jovi.
Was it the hair?
I don't know what it was. Maybe the pants and the jumping, the splits on stage. Am I thinking Bon Jovi? Or are we talking to the same guy?
Sure,
he was doing splits on stage.
A lot of the stuff was aerobic back then.
Aerobic.
Like the socks, the long tubey socks anyway.
Where did that come from? Like the wind pants and the workout? It's aerobic.
Straight up.
It was Jazzercise, came out in the 80s and 90s, and then all of a sudden it was super hot and cute to wear your headband and your fanny pack and your workout pants to the bar.
It was in the music videos and everything,
music videos. What was up with that? Where do you think that came from? What drives that?
Consumerism. They needed to sell more Lycra. Where?
Man, that has to be it. Well, maybe that was the beginning of influencers. Maybe that was the beginning of like truly having ambassadors on a big scale, because TV and entertainment was so easily accessible in the 90s to get things streamed through cable. And MTV was a thing. So then when you had, whoa, I'm blowing my own mind right now. So then you get MTV in the mix, which is music, right? And then these people are not only the audio icons of a generation, but now they're on TV.
Visual icons, absolutely. This is where you get the Michael Jacksons, right? The sports superstars like Jordan.
Exactly. Then you've got the latex and the spandex and the Lycra that comes into play, and these people are making these things, and now they need to sell them. And who's going to be their image, their icon, that person on stage in front of everybody on every platform of media, in person, on TV, on MTV.
I like how you put it.
Holy shit.
And these are the people who are consistent in art, right? These are the workers. These are the hard workers who take the idea by the neck and really they work it out on television. They work it out in front of the mic. They work it out visually. And so when they start to be manipulated, wow, it starts to change the world, right?
Because most people connect with music and sound naturally, and the showmanship of it, right?
Vibration.
It's something, exactly, that vibration is something that we're drawn to it in a positive way, right? So politics, we're also drawn into that. News, we're also drawn into that. But it's always negative, it's always dramatic, and it's a really shitty perspective, people. Like let's pull it together. But that's been going on a long time. That ain't changed. Yeah, we hope that it will. Musicians, though, take the entire opposite side of it and make it feel awesome.
Have you noticed? And when you talk about musicians, I think about all artists, because
totally agree.
Muse, and to be amused, and to really love wonder and to be within that world is childlike, and it's enviable life at any rate. Right?
No doubt.
Oh, I've seen.
Wow.
And that's what I love about my work as an artist. It's a way of connecting with people's childlike nature, and I've noticed that I've started to erase ageism from my spirit too. Like I've started to notice that's rampant in life. Also, that's an ism that's kind of glazed over. But we all are looking to be children in our own minds. I feel like nobody walks around feeling like this is my last. Nobody wants to walk around feeling like this is their last day on earth.
No doubt. Also, and that's so much perspective to me. I was talking to a close friend of mine, Nolan, and he's got a beautiful family of all girls, and we talk about topics of politics and government, particularly in times like this.
Okay.
And we get into it, and I'm like, what is it like? What is it like to raise a brilliant, beautiful, yet influenceable human in this time? What is that like? And he says, I learned so much because I'm carrying around all this baggage with me, and they're so free. They're so free from mortgages and rent and the next meeting and the phone call and the emails and the money and how they're going to feed the family next and this and that and this and that, right? That we carry around with us. And the history, the experiences of all the topics, disengendering, racism, thirst, hunger, poverty, all these things we're carrying, right?
Generationally.
But young, agreed, those young people, they see it and it feels so magnificent.
They're so strong, right?
And beautiful, and anything is possible. Absolutely agree with you that's the place we all want to go back to.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what I think I'm picking up what you're putting down and saying that's kind of, it's childlike. It brings you, you're morphing a bit in essence in yourself through your work.
Yo, and maybe that's what brings it back. I never really thought about it, but maybe that's where the 80s is for me, because that's when I would grow up. And my parents, they created this world for me. I was a really blessed child, put it like that. I was adopted at a young age. My parents were saints. They were already a generation above me. Wow. So they were retired. They had all this time for us and my 3 adopted brothers. I never really had to wonder about the other side of things or a darker side of things. I just was able to enjoy my childhood, enjoy Thanksgiving, enjoy my family at Christmas. At the time, it felt maybe overbearing, but as I got older, I really understood and appreciated what it's like to grow up with a childhood, period.
Perspective, dude. Man, my grandparents raised me. So it's the same generation of people.
Straight up.
So if I'm thinking about it, I was, rough math here, a teenager from 9 to 17. They're in their 60s.
Straight up.
Is that about the same time frame you were in?
Just about.
50s and 60s.
Yep.
Retired-ish, going towards retirement.
Yep.
Everything's funny. Everything's fun.
Right.
Even the troubles and the challenges in life, there can be a fun lesson to be learned from that, right?
Absolutely.
Man, I know what that feels like. We are fortunate to have been able to experience that, particularly knowing what the life could have been like another way. We don't know.
Straight up. And now I feel like it's my opportunity and my responsibility to give that feeling back to people no matter what. Mm. So I've taken different things in our memory, cartoons basically, because it's a common factor. We've all seen them at certain points in our lifetime and they mean something to us. It's my way of connecting when there seems to be no other connection, really. When the world has these barriers, this always seems to filter through a cartoon. Everybody knows Popeye. Everybody knows Homer Simpson, right? Just about in our generation. Okay. 'Cause they've been on for 30 years.
Yeah, they have.
Okay.
Cross generations, not only this generation.
Wow. And when I talk about generation now, it gets kind of fumbled in my mind because I'm like, the internet generation is a generation like no other, because Google is able to filter these ideas with no cap. Put it like that. There's no cap.
Well, I think there's I'm sorry to interrupt a little bit, but I think that there's multiple levels of generationals or generations. So you have generational profiling, which is what we're kind of talking about. It's a profile of a generation of people, but those people experienced an age of technology, which is an entirely different generation. We call it the fucking age of technology, which is representative of, if you look at humans, a generation of people, an age of humanity, if you will, going through cycles of, and these are all these characters associated with the profiles of someone who grew up in this time frame. Nice. But you're talking about an entirely different generation of time whenever you think about technology and these characters on morning cartoons, everyday stuff, the people that we the things, the cartoons, the people, the characters.
Images, yep, absolutely.
Images and characters that resonates with us, that we learned lessons from. Either learn lessons at church, at home from your parents, or the other data and information that you pick up. And that's school and what?
Television.
Cartoons and television.
Absolutely.
For this, what? Generation.
Thanks.
Exactly.
And I feel like I was a case study as a kid because God bless my parents, but I watched a hell of a lot of television, put it like that. But I was able to take these ideas and use them just recently and put them in front of people with my own retrospective titles. I mean to say, when I was a kid, it meant one thing. Then I became an adult, it meant something different to me. So when I share this aspect, when I share this separation with people, they really dig it, man, one way or another.
I totally dig it. And when I first saw your art, I'm like, what in the heck is this? You know, these are cartoon characters. They're figures of my past that I know that I've seen before. And I wasn't inundated with TV and television when I was young. Half my time with my grandparents, because they were that generation, and I grew up in backwoods of Texas, basically. Nice. So it was get outside and do some stuff. Don't sit in front of the TV and rot your brain away. Nice. That's the messaging.
I can dig it.
I don't dig it because all I wanted to do was watch TV
at the time.
Exactly. But I learned a lot from the hours that I did when I was with my father, and I did watch a lot of TV. There were, come on, the Coyote and the Roadrunner.
Wow,
that's my one.
Straight up.
That's my one. Very clear, concise, quick, funny life lesson.
Consistent.
Do not chase it until you run off the side of a mountain. It's obvious you're about to get your ass blowed up. Don't do that. Okay.
No, I think another lesson is don't trust Acme products.
Thank you.
What the hell? Come on, guys.
Exactly. But these are the lessons, right, that I remember. We all remember these lessons because we're absorbing it. It's super critical to our growth process as data and information and trial and error, but you watch it happen.
Straight up.
And it's graphic.
Yeah.
There's a message that's super powerful. So when I see yes, sir.
Yo, and not to cut you off,
please.
But the message, all jokes aside, the Coyote and Roadrunner is about a consistent message of genius means nothing. Trying hard and keeping and discipline means everything.
Thank you.
The Roadrunner never gave up. I mean, neither one ever gave up.
Agreed.
Put it like that. And as much as the Coyote failed, he never gave up.
Still hungry.
He was a super genius. But it didn't matter. He had to keep going. Yo.
It's mind-blowing to me. And these lessons, to your point, is exactly what I'm referring to, because when I saw your work, it automatically triggers people because they have an association.
Already.
Feeling.
A memory.
It's brilliant. You have an association feeling to a character, which is almost always tied to a lesson.
And then I give it my own title. I throw my own experience into it.
With an association of a current topic, typically.
Absolutely. One of my first works was Potential Baby Shower. I called it Potential Baby Shower. It shows Michael Jackson dangling his newborn child over a German balcony. I've called it my study on how fatherhood can be scary for all parties involved. He was just caught up. He was a father caught up in the moment. He didn't know what to do. And at the time, people called him a maniac. But have they ever been a father? Have you ever been caught up in that emotion? So how can we really judge him? We know we call him Wacko Jacko, but can you judge a genius? Like, how can you do it? Like, you got to be careful because you mess with the world when you do that. We were just talking about it a little bit earlier.
We were.
All right, so
it's brilliant, though. This perspective that you're bringing is so amazing to me, because the paralleling, the connecting of the dots, that in itself is genius and brilliance. I'm sorry, it is. That's why the big bucks get paid to people that do that for a living. Who's really behind the algorithms of data? People that connect dots.
All day, every day.
Genius.
Absolutely.
That is what you're doing in a socioeconomic, right?
Absolutely.
Multi-generational,
trying to touch all aspects.
Fabric,
sure,
if you will, that it's woven in history, right? But it's like you're giving it density. You're making it thicker. The fabric gets just thicker and denser as it comes along and becomes a new a new seasonal sweater. I don't know. I'm not paralleling it well, but I'm saying there's a fabric of history that exists. Yeah, make fun of me. There's a fabric of history that exists, and you are taking the image of that and like reusing it to create something all new and fresh, but leveraging something that's so close to us, like our favorite sweater.
Thanks.
Really poor example, everybody.
No, I think you've hit it on the head one way or another. And that's the way the universe works its hammer. Like you start swinging blindly and you're like, the house is made. Yo.
That was the most beautiful backhanded compliment.
You're right.
You know I'm fucking with you. No, your brain, man.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the time
Damn.
and the energy, because I'd started to do my workout on the street, and people have looked at me like I'm crazy one way or another. But the closer they get, they look at me in a good crazy way. They're like, yo, you're doing good work. Please continue, because you're reminding me of something and you're making it new. And that's what I noticed. That's all it takes to become successful in this world if you do it consistently. It takes hard work, though. And what I'm teaching my kid is, make the work hard yourself before someone else does. Before the world puts the weight on you, get strong. Pick the weight up yourself. Train yourself before anyone else does. And I like how you talked about history. For me, it's a balancing between history and mystery. And these are the two opposites. These are the alternating functions in our world in a lot of ways, because we see a picture and we have to interpret it for ourselves anyway. At any rate, when anyone reads a book for themselves, they have to use their own imagination. Even when you see a movie, when the pictures are hand-picked, you're still using your imagination.
You're connecting dots. That's what that's how my mind thinks about it. Because you're taking an experience, attaching your experience and a feeling and association to what you're seeing and creating something new, but it's all based on an experience you've had before, and something you've been exposed to and seen, and you bring it into that experience and give it some new life. Is that kind of what you're explaining?
Thanks.
And I'm trying to understand it, and I'm sorry, I have to repeat things back in my language for my mind to understand it, be sure that I'm getting it.
I like that.
And in this case, you do get to create a new storyline if you want to. Am I right?
Oh my goodness. And that's what really excites me about it, because I'm able to take ideas that quote unquote have been done, but they haven't been done by me. What if I was able to take an idea and run with it? How far do I have to get to make it mine? I've said to myself. And I've started to take The Simpsons specifically and started to study them as modern day hieroglyphics, cartoons in general, put it like that, because they hold a certain idea. And if I'm able to write it on a wall, who's to say who I'm talking to in the future will able to translate that language better than anything else?
Those hieroglyphs of the past, do you know what they represented? Typically a god of sort. Am I right?
Something sacred. It was so important to them. They didn't write something without it being of life or death.
Right.
They were talking about life or death all the time. It's written on the pyramid walls. Agreed. So that's what I'm trying to do just digitally. I'm trying to write on the digital pyramid's wall and tell people to look at things differently, not just how Matt Groening or whoever, Tex Avery, whoever specifically created the cartoon, Chuck Jones, all these masters, they gave it to us for a reason. We're given these images for a reason, so we can take them and connect with one another on one way or on one level or another.
Connect. And for me, I take lessons away. That's the biggest thing for me. I don't know why. I'm searching for an answer most of the time, or a solution, or trying to figure things out. Humans are. Wow. And these cartoons help you generate ideas as points of reference.
Thanks. They're avatars.
Thank you.
They're avatars.
Yes.
That we can pour our minds into and feel safe one way or another. And that's why I think The Simpsons has survived so long. I hate to always bring it back to The Simpsons.
No, please. It's a brilliant cartoon.
Okay, because they're yellow and people can't feel a certain, people are able to feel safe with them. They're able to balance things out, put it like that. And people are able to insert their own minds into them and feel safe without any outside meddling, without any outside isms to tear them or separate us one way or another. It's just about the idea. It's not about the color of the skin anymore.
Mm-hmm. It's a challenge. It's a challenge, and it's a success on every episode that can be shared by all cultures.
Straight up.
And it's beautiful in that way. You know, there's a Simpsons episode that sticks out in my mind more than any other. It's weird how the mind works and remembers things, because I don't have a mind for names of songs, actors, musicians, and so on, unless I've met them and I have a personal connection with them.
Okay.
This particular episode of The Simpsons, Bart walks into the kitchen. There's a beautiful cupcake sitting on the kitchen counter, and it has one of those little pokey flag things that you put in there, and it can say like happy birthday or something like that on there. And in this case, it says do not touch, and it has a lightning bolt on it. Okay. And so Bart's like, looking at this thing, and he, you know, his finger, the way I remember it anyway, his finger's going in and it shows him go to touch the thing, and he finally touches it. It shocks the shit out of him. And he's like, ouch. The next 30 seconds is ouch, 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 ouch. He just keeps poking it over and over and over. It's beautiful. We want it, but it hurts us.
Sure.
And yet we keep going back for more hurt, more pain.
That's his part in that energy. He's the rascal. He can't get he can't get enough of the action, if it hurts him or not. Right? He's that kid. He's that curious kid. He wants the experience more than anything else, and he has the courage enough to go through it every time.
It resonated with me, and that's maybe why the Coyote and the Roadrunner one resonates with me too. I didn't think about it until you explained the essence of the messaging, which was continue to try until you die trying.
Yo, that's for me.
Die trying.
That's absolutely for me, because he was killed so many times. It doesn't matter. We have to follow our dreams, or we're not experiencing life to the fullest.
Yeah.
Well, the deserts out there. We want to eat the good food. The good food is out there. I'm speaking as the Coyote. He wants the best. He could have been spending all that Acme money on some dinners to go out to eat or something. Okay, but he wants the best. He wants that Roadrunner meat.
He does.
I can relate.
I can too. And what you do is you take these, and I know I keep like a broken record coming back to it, but they are these lessons that can be learned across generations, but portrayed in a different format and form of art. The Bible is itself one of the most epic works of literature. Art is what it is.
Sure.
And it gives us lessons, and it has to be eloquent and beautiful and direct and painful,
right, and
indirect
exaggerated, and indirect, and at the same time. It has to hold this paradigm. It has to be balanced out so that one side can hold it up against the other, and the people in the middle can be where they are too.
And you parallel that with modern. Take it back to hieroglyphs.
Straight up.
Same principles. Bring it to modern day. I'm going to call it modern day 80s, 90s cartoons. Same principles exist in the essence of the message. It's required. It's required for the majority, and it's a very small group of people like you that can connect those dots and make it really powerful to the folks that see it. When I first saw your work, I was like, something resonates with me here, and I don't know if I want to buy all of it or not buy any of it. I'm not sure. And then when you're like, I mean that with all due respect, I wasn't sure. I didn't know how it made me feel, you know? And now that I talked to you, I definitely want to fucking buy it all.
Thanks.
Do you see my point?
Absolutely.
Because the message is brilliant.
It's timeless. Art is timeless in of itself. We're recreating the same things over and over again in our own ways. And so when we get down to that, that's work in and of itself. And when I started to see that work, I stopped everybody else's work. I had to stop everyone else's work, and I said, what is it? And I would sit down on my living room floor, which is my studio, and I would ask myself and my loved one, What is it? It's something. The people's their eyes glow when I show them. When I pour it out on the street, I'm sorry, let me take it back a little bit. My work started in front of Target on El Camino Real and Vista Way, right here in Oceanside. With one work and asking the people if it looked valuable or not. The work depicted Bo Jackson's final play. I called it Tackled for Loss. When I talked about it, I talked about it like I'm talking about it right now. Like, it was just for me. And when I showed the people, when I was asking them if it looked valuable or not, I was really talking about me. I wasn't talking about the work. All of an artist's work is a self-portrait, I feel like. And I've come to learn. Well, anyway, the people, they grew it with their eyes and their attention, and I didn't stop. Not even when municipal authorities were in my way. I told them that I was doing the people's work and that I was that they didn't understand. Became more and more consistent at the same spot. I met more and more resistance, but it didn't matter to me anymore because I had caught fire for the people and their ideas, what we're talking about, these core ideas that I feel like I'm a custodian for now. I would stand like an honor guard just about, and I would take the energy of the people.
Representing the people.
Thanks.
Because you saw way more value in what they saw in you than what the authorities saw.
Thanks.
Which was clearly blind.
Right, but I don't blame them anymore because that's their job, is to protect the people from people that aren't strong enough, that they're not consistent enough. Okay, it was a test to me, put it like that, and I took it on just like that. And I encourage any artist not to break the law, but the true ones, we have to test it a little bit, just enough to get our point across to the people because they deserve it. Put it like that. I saw people and they were without a feeling, they were without a flavor in front of Target. And I said, I can help. So every day I'd come at a certain time and I'd set up shop, and I called it Art Cart. It began as Art Cart, and I just wanted to show. I didn't try to sell. I had a sign that said, love is for free. Art costs money. How can I help you? One way or another, people would come with some form of help. Sometimes they'd come with the water. Sometimes they'd come with a token, put it like that. Any kind of token that they give me, I'd accept. And my true profit was the look on their face when I really got through to them, like you say I got through to you, Logan. I really appreciate it. And it's not me, it's the work. The work is a conduit for my spirit. And I feel like that's for every man, and every woman and every child feels that energy and wants to bring that energy to the world. And that's our purpose. In my heart. And when I make that connection with people, they say, carry on. And they give me what they feel like it's going to take for me to carry on. And that's how I'm here in front of you. It's grown into apparel. It's grown into clothing now. And so people can wear and represent these ideas that we all love.
You said something in there that really resonated to me. I hear you. And man, that's some heavy stuff. I don't know if it's just me these days or I'm surrounded by artists. And I'm beginning to hear a common thing, not to degrade your experience. I think that it's very much like what I'm hearing from other artists when they talk about their work and how they feel about their work. It is them. And they're putting themselves out there. Dave and I were just discussing this recently, how we were having this discussion yesterday, actually, with a group of tattoo artists and all artists as well, right? And when you tattoo yourself permanently, it's a commitment, it's a step. And you're saying to the world, this is me, I did it, I made this choice, this represents me, I represent it. At least in that moment, it's the head game that we're playing with ourselves, but it's so real as a stepping stone. And you wouldn't recommend for people to break the law. Of course, we're not recommending that, and I know that. But at the same time, what we're saying is we recommend to take a stand and put ourselves out there. Wear yourself on your sleeve, wear your art on your sleeve, put it in front of people, and feel what's being received by them and by you by putting yourself out there.
I totally dig that. Yep.
That's what you did.
Yep.
And you're growing, bro.
Because of that, absolutely, every day.
I am too, and so are the people around me that
feel
have
it.
a consistent message. All of them, put yourself out there.
And it's a power growth. It's not multiplication. It's exponential. It's like, yo, we link together, and it's like, it's a multiplication of a multiplication. So it's the consistency put in that's really valuable.
That message you were sharing with your boy, right? On be consistent, drive forward, drive forth.
No matter what.
If you're shot down, which will happen.
Yep.
If you fall, it will happen.
Yep.
Barriers will be put up for certain. That will happen. But you got this.
Yep.
You just got to put in the work hard, be passionate, be good. That's where it is.
Wow. And it's a balance in between that and the convenience. And convenience starts to become the enemy for me, for any artist, I feel like. And so that's why I say challenge yourself, put the weight in front of you. Because a lot of the time it's taken from us, and we become not better for it. We become worse off, put it like that, for not having met up the challenge.
Talk to me about convenience a little bit. What do you mean?
The convenience of working for yourself and the people, because the people won't expect anything from you either. But when they see your full worth, when they see your heart poured out, they know it. But they won't expect it from you, because of the world we live in. We're expected not to wear our work on the sleeve. We're expected to hide ourselves in so many ways. And so to really truly show your worth, and to show your work consistently and with a certain amount of pride and with a certain amount of aura to yourself, and be vulnerable in that moment, and to allow the hate to come through also, and to still tell people, do enjoy the rest of your day, even though they wouldn't wish it for you, and you know it. You take that and you turn it around, and you give it all you've got on the next one. Right. Put it like that. And that person, they'll melt for you. And it'll be worth it. It has been worth it for me. Thanks, Lo.
It is worth it. The times that you're not being paid to do something that you're really shining through on, it's truly who you are, and you've got to put it out there, and you've got to present it to people. And there's really only a couple options, is acceptance and then the other stuff. And that other stuff's going to happen.
I love how you
and
put
the
it.
acceptance is also going to happen if you really dug in and got it out there, right?
Absolutely.
Those accepting moments, they're worth it all.
Absolutely.
They're worth it all.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If it's for good.
Sure.
If it's for good.
Yep. I totally agree with that.
Man.
And I would tell people, sometimes people feel sorry because they don't have any token to give you. But I would tell them, you've paid perfect attention with your eyes. Someone's seen that. We're all here. We all have. Put it like that. It's up to us to share. It's up to us individually to share. And so that's how I give it to them. And it's paying dividends in attention, and it's paying dividends in community, what I'm calling community equity, or relationship equity in the community.
Yeah. I'm going to tell a brief story. I was 3 years old. I was living with my aunt for a while, and she had me in some school, and I was demanding to wear my wind shorts, my cowboy boots, a little holster with a gun, a cowboy hat, and a tank top. Okay? This was the way I was going to school.
Right.
And Aunt Lenny said, "Baby, you can't go to school like that." She learned never to mess with me while I was picking out my clothes, okay? She thought that was pretty much the end of our relationship in that moment, and I went to school that way, and I always went to school however the hell I wanted to after that. That feeling that you have as a child, as a youth in that moment, connecting your own dots freely. Wow. Without the barriers or the walls or what the expectations and brackets are that society's put on us over the last 38 years.
Or
right?
so few of them, or so many of them. Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Exactly. So few or so many.
Yeah.
Agree. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And now I'm not going to walk out of the house like that, but I fucking should.
Because that's the core. He said, that's the core. I mean, that's the cowboy in you. Nice.
Right. But that's the cowboy in you as an artist. That's the cowboy in all of us. And that's what art does. That's what your art is doing. It's bringing us back. It's bringing you back. Like to be a youth and open and accepted just for your cowboy boots and your stupid little wind shorts and my cowboy hat and my fake gun on my belt. Yeah, that's me.
Sure.
Yeah, that's me. It's ridiculous, and you're going to laugh and love it, and you're going to laugh and love it, and it's going to be ridiculous.
Nice.
That's where it is.
If only institutions could be like that. I mean, there's...
I'm sorry.
No, yo.
All right, Dave and Peyton, from now on, you guys got to come to work in your most favored, like, just think about what it was that you were absolutely afraid to be seen wearing, leaving the house, and just wear that tomorrow.
Nice.
Why not?
Yeah, sure, right.
Institutionalize this freedom of whatever.
Yo,
how do you do that? How would you execute that, Jesse?
It's like being as least insecure as possible, right? You're gonna be like, yo, I'm clean and I'm walking out of the house. Put it like that.
Smelling fresh.
Right? Yo, what, take me or leave me. What do you want? A loincloth? Maybe I would go loincloth or toga even. I think that was the pinnacle of comfort in our civilization. Put it like that.
Toga was great.
Right?
Yeah.
With the olive branches and all.
Oh my, are you kidding me?
Pretty regal.
Yeah. And it just makes sense. It's a living thing on your head, keeping your eyes shade. Give me a break. Yes to that, please.
Oh, dang, man. I feel a trend coming on. Yep. Straight up.
So not to degrade it, but what I think is the point I'm relaying back to is the point that you're making. It's brilliant. It's bringing us back to our youth by putting ourselves out there in all the essence of who we are. We created in sort of an irrelevant to space and time mindset. When you're doing art, where are you? Are you in the 80s? Are you in the present? Where are you?
I'm a lot of times I'm listening to 80s music. So yeah, maybe I'm a kid again, you know? Trying to relive an emotion more so than actually doing anything at all. And then I try to do the process consistently, or I try to pay attention to the process enough so that it becomes second nature to me, and try to enjoy it, enjoy the memories from that moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're explaining the entire process of the most high level cognitive learning process. If I restate what you just said, you try to feel emotion associated with a time, maybe a place, but you try to feel it, right?
Through music a lot of the times.
Right.
Or I'm like triggered by an image, and then I'm like, yo, I remember that. How could I have forgotten that? I know so many people have forgotten that. Let me give it back in my own way with a new title. And they'll say, well, they've consistently said, yo, that's what it is.
Right. And you're feeling something. Space and time is no longer relative in that moment, for a moment.
Like when you're doing any kind of work repetitively, any kind of quality work repetitively, you kind of forget where you are. You're staying safe, but it's like it becomes second nature or involuntary.
And when you eliminate space and time as a relative piece of an experience, your brain starts to go to a place that improves the growth potential of the wires, not literal wires, but the nerves
Circuitry.
Inside of your brain. Well, it's nerves.
Okay.
They start to grow, and then they start firing in a way where the relativity of space and time don't exist. That's why the creative state is so abstract in many ways, and it's out there, right? Yeah. It's because dogs don't fly, but you see that in paintings. And there's probably some representative essence that means something to the artist, right? But why is it flying through air? Pigs don't fly either. But it's associations that no longer make sense because space and time don't exist.
It can be exaggerated all the way back to the other end.
Because you're feeling something. In that state of mind and feeling, right then, you are at your highest peak growth potential for mind, cognitive learning, and expansion, okay? And then you're saying that you have repetitious skill set for muscle memory that you're working on. If you can connect, this is theory, but if you can, based on clinical studies, if you can connect that cognitive or that mindset in that moment where space and time don't exist, you're in the zone, flow state as some people like to refer it to.
Okay.
Then you consciously implement muscle memory skills and so on. What you're doing is you're able to evolve your hand to eye to processing in a cognitive learning process that is at its peak. Did you know that?
Thanks. This is
It's
when
amazing.
you said that, it's drawing me to the conclusion of why I'm so obsessed with Michael Jordan, especially in my work, because you could be talking about a theory that has to do with his process also. The hand-eye muscle memory to the basket. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
Sure.
And so it's like making this parallel and drawing this process. Actually saying it is really blowing my mind right now.
Okay.
Because you're putting a definition to something that I just take for granted.
I'm sorry.
And that most artists and most geniuses probably just take for granted.
I'm sorry. No. I hope that's not a negative thing. I hope that's not a negative thing. I'm so sorry.
Me too.
I'm so sorry. Did you know that athletes follow this exact process? Wow. As a matter of fact, like Michael Jordan's of the world, and they've been trained by therapists and psychologists that if you inundate yourself in flow and skills training to where you're just in the zone, almost like a runner's high, and you're out of your mind and you're just doing it over and over and over, and then you go dream about it.
Yeah.
It's in.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it. Gold medalist right there.
Yeah, right.
You're already you're doing gold medalist style like processes. I was just wondering how you painted, and you just literally described one of the most high-end cognitive learning. It was
Thanks. It makes
pretty
sense.
fucking cool.
It makes sense now that my name be Jesse Owens. And it was absolutely
oh my God, you just what do you connect the dots?
My
for me
first
right there?
name is Jesse, last name Owens.
Yes.
He was a legendary track star back in like 36.
Are you for real?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
He went against the world. He smashed the
Okay,
ideals
you're right.
of the
You're
time.
right. You're right. He did.
So it's funny.
He was an animal.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I remember this now.
And he totally proved the world wrong in the face of a lot of theories going around and a lot of naysayers. I just feel like that's a part of all of our hero's journey, put it like that, in whatever aspect we find ourselves in, and just continue through those aspects, and it'll turn into a gold medal in our own lives, whatever that means.
Gold medalist. I love it. Thank you for paralleling that.
Absolutely, man.
You made I was feeling dumb, and then you just helped me out of that dumb hole.
Not at all, man.
Yeah, no, that was good.
We help one another,
Thank
man.
you.
Because I find myself in that hole too.
Okay.
Come on, man. We're in the trench together,
I feel
dude.
you.
Sure.
Let's work it out.
And can we talk about that for a second? Because this
Yes.
is part of the creative process. You have to forgive yourself. You have to be able to get over that awkward moment. You have to be able to get over that quote unquote mistake. So much of my work I've done, I've had doubt, and I've gone through the doubt, and it's been a masterpiece to someone else. So you just never know. And when it became a masterpiece to someone else, then I started to realize my purpose in it wasn't about me at all. It was about someone else. And when I let that be more so, there are no mistakes. It's just a continuation. And I know that's how the Michael Jordans and the Jesse Owenses of the world see it. Let me just do my work. Just put me in an aspect. Just put the paper in front of me. Put the mic in front of me. Put the surfboard in front of me. Put whatever I love in front of me. Put the canvas in front of me. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So thanks, man. And I want to pay homage to these heroes. I want to pay homage to these geniuses who've taken upon themselves. The Chuck Jones, like I said, people who've created these beautiful cartoons, which might have been taken for granted at the time, because growing up, it felt like men weren't supposed to watch cartoons. It just certainly was something, or certain aspects weren't masculine, put it like that. Or
and it was silly, and it's not okay to be silly and eccentric.
Do you see?
Yeah, I
and
do.
You grow out of
that.
And you grow out of certain ideas, but I don't think that we do grow out of certain ideas. I think we just kind of just keep going through the same revolution of ideas and emotions. And how we share these with each other is the way the world changes, one way or another. Thanks.
Man.
I appreciate this forum to really pour it out, because a lot of the times I'd be talking to myself, and I taught my boy, a lot of times I overhear the best conversations when I talk to myself, but there's nothing like being with someone who is working it out with you. Thanks, Lo.
No, thank you, because you're enlightening me.
Each other. We inspire one another. Absolutely.
And I feel you on that message, and that was a well-articulated way to put it. With the greats, even as the icons, if you will, as they've made good points to us.
Wow, they always have, and it's like, I pay homage to them. I don't want to copy them. I want to take the idea and run my own way with it, because I want to harness it for all it's worth.
Those who created the World Wide Web were leveraging brilliance of their predecessors.
Wow.
Okay. And it takes a certain kind of magic to create something new with assets that were created by others. But that is the evolution of humans.
I like how you put it, because it takes the money and it takes the value, and it takes the currency to continue. And people understand that one way or another. And if you're consistent and you're about quality, it's going to come your way. It's come my way, and it's coming my way. And I want to just keep giving it back. And when you're good at it, you're giving it. I want to just be able to give it back in the right places. Put it like that. And that's what I really appreciate that.
In the right places. I think that's relative to who we are. Do you think?
Wow.
Is the right place your place, and the right place is my place?
It's our experiences, right? Are going to draw us one way or another. And then that experience is going to teach us one way or another. So that's a great question, Lo.
The reason I ask is I struggle with where to put my time and money sometimes. And then what I am, time, mostly. Wow. My time, okay. My money, I don't really question where I put my money is where I put my time.
Oh, man.
My money is where, my time is where my money is, and my money is where my time is. Nice. Because I'm investing in myself now.
The same. Nice.
I'm investing in myself now. Because what I'm investing in myself, and this isn't a plug, it's investing in others. Automatically, it's just who I am, the people around me. I want to help their ideas grow.
Thanks.
My time is available to help other things that I am passionate about grow. And I've learned that that's my path in life, is to help folks grow, help ideas grow, to give them a kickstart, get them over the hump, tip them, if you will. Yeah. And that's something, is that a job?
It is. They call it a producer, yo.
Oh,
he's bringing things into fruition, right. Yo. He's charging the right energy, and he's like, yo, he or she is like, yo, let's do it. I see you. They see talent. They're not jealous. They want to charge talent. They want to show talent how to charge other people. And yo, that's where I got my training from. Is just to put it across real quick. Got a lot of my training from the Hollywood set, and it was such an experience for me to see talented people work hard and to take play things seriously, take props seriously, take time seriously, take the playful nature and laughter seriously, and turn it on when it's time and turn it off when it's time. I really got a kick out of that, and I'm taking it into my work. And people say, yo, it's become a show. And that's because it's about me giving my all to the moment. And if you're able to connect with me, then I want to show you that it was worth your time. In this place, we've started to equate time with a piece of paper. So let's go. Let's continue. Let's continue however, whatever it means to us. You know what I mean? And then, because to me, it's just like what you were the point that you were stepping to. And it's like smashing it all together so we can go back to when time and money were the exact same thing. We're looking in each other's eyes and we're saying hello to one another and we're shaking hands and we're buying food for each other and we're buying water for each other and we're taking each other places and we're talking to one another and we're experiencing life and we're experiencing the universe through one another.
And you're saying, I like that idea. Let's go figure it out.
And I am figuring it out on my own and through my friends.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Epic experience, man. Right? Man.
Hey, yo, man.
It's so good to talk to you.
The feeling's mutual, Lo.
It's so good to talk to you. I take something positive and something good because there's two ways you can go. Positive or negative.
I've noticed, and I've gone down both bunny holes. I like one better. I like one better, and one is more constructive, and one adds value to my life, whereas the other, I don't even want to talk about it. That's how I talk to my boy now. I'm like, yo, I don't even want to talk about the other end because that's not where we live. Good looking out. And those that live there, I kind of show my worth to them and keep going, put it like that, because it's like you said, you can either take or leave it. And we have to take or leave our friends one way or another. So, yo, because I've had friends that fall off the deep end. I don't even want to talk about it. You dig what I'm saying, audience? Because I know you've been there before too. So why talk about it? Let's continue. Let's not let the politics separate us. Let's get in each other's eyes and really know our intent is to continue together without fear. Just live. There's enough room for us all. And I know it might sound like flower child talk and all this to some people, but the real people understand that this is how human beings were meant to live, yo. And we were meant to live separated so much. And we can allow art and we can allow life to put us all together in one place safely and comfortably. We don't have to be married to one another, what I'm talking about. We can do business with one another and still not feel this animosity and not feel this strife that might or might not be wedged in between us.
That the media likes to put between us on color, on
I wasn't going to say
sex,
nice.
Sexual fucking orientation,
Thanks.
On disengendering, on the youth, generational profiling. Let's just put everybody in their own little box and see what happens as they try to fight their fucking way out of it and then make friends again and find a way through art and creativity and openness.
It's already here. It's
mind
already at the
open,
core.
heart enlarged, soul receptive, dude.
Yup.
Matthew McConaughey said that. I gotta quote him, right? Surfer dude, Matthew McConaughey. I have to, otherwise I'm in trouble.
I thought it was gonna be like Gandhi or something.
Yeah,
you say Matthew McConaughey.
Dude. No, he's a good old Texas boy like me.
Sure, man.
You know, much appreciated.
That's
and
cool.
kind of an icon of my generation. That's the way I see him anyway.
Tight, yo.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. He's kind of a dick to hang out with, from what I understood. We can cut that out, but whatever.
Yo, he's a gifted actor for sure, man.
He is a very gifted actor, and he's come a long way. I think he's come a long
breaking out
way.
of his own boxes that he may or may not have a part in putting himself into.
And this is kind of why I bring him up, because he's been put in a box. He's been put in a lot of like dumb jock boxes. You know?
Yeah, I can dig that. Some of the surfer movies, they were kind of like chick flicks, or you might call them. But
shirts off the whole time, and he only wears one pair of pants the entire time, right? Yeah.
But I've seen him in some quality stuff like The Lincoln Lawyer. I don't know if you've seen The Lincoln.
That's one of my favorite McConaughey films.
Oh, man, he really shows up in that one.
He does.
Dallas Buyers Club.
I think he directs and produces some of these films as well.
Oh, man, yo.
He definitely helps select the cast.
Taking over more part of the process. I just love that, yo, because that's what the greats can't help but do, is just take over more and more. They want more on their plate, not satisfied. Jordan, he didn't settle for one. He needed more. Okay. I hate to always bring it back, but that's one of
He's huge.
Thanks. right.
only makes sense. So please don't apologize.
He's become this icon. He's become sort of like a demigod among us. He doesn't really say much. You don't see him in the media that often because he's controlling his image in a certain way. And it feels like, yo, he's able to like transcend mere mortality or a mere basketball player. He's the shoe now. He's the jump man. So it's like, yo, I feel a little envy being an artist and like, yo, I yearn to become that's one of my like things I kind of get over. One of my ego trips I get over is like I want to become more than just a person. I want to become an idea, like Batman, or I want to put on a mask and like not so much a mask, but theoretically like, yo, a mask and like thanks. I know mask has become another connotation these days.
Oh my God.
Thanks.
No, thank you.
I couldn't help it. I felt the elephant in the room.
And you're the one saying
wow.
Thanks. Yeah, right?
Yo, but
thanks for the perspective, everybody.
Yo, but I'm just talking about becoming an idea is all I'm saying. And Jordan, he's become that. And
he's a brand like, not like Oprah. Oprah's a different kind of brand, but when you say Oprah, you don't even need her last name. No one, it's just not a thing.
Right.
And then Jordan, that's all you got to say.
Straight up.
Michael, you might get confused. Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, Michelangelo. But these names are those folks. I don't know how they've managed it. I don't.
It's consistency.
You think?
It's got to be consistency because nothing trumps it. There's nothing else comes close to, and another elephant in the room, Trump. Like, yo, okay.
You just did it. You just keep dropping them like that. You're just having fun with it now.
This language is awesome. I love it. Yo, they just conjure these spells and they just go their own ways. Okay. All right. And so anyway, I forgot where I was talking about now. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is super crazy.
But yeah.
Well, what we were talking about were athletes, and particularly Jordan, and what I call it is the Oprah effect. I make references in Oprah about Oprah and the Oprah effect. If she says it, therefore it is. If she does it and puts money behind it, therefore it is that. She's a billionaire.
I like how you put Jordan and Oprah, like they have something in common, consistency, and they keep their image in a certain light so that it can't be tarnished, and a lot of their finances go towards that, put it like that, to keep them out of scandal, to keep their image squeaky clean.
That's how they do it. And they're also good fucking people.
Absolutely.
That's, I think, where it
Let's
is.
add that on.
Yeah.
Because you can't get that big and not help a lot of people. I just don't believe it. Put it like that. You need help. And so being around the right people at the right time, it's not so much luck, but it's consistency.
Let's say you were Oprah. You look good. But
trying to put that in my play.
But what would you do? What would you do with all that power?
What could you do? Right?
I know.
Wow.
Would or could. That's a great point.
Wow. Yeah, because we were talking about it earlier about, talent can get manipulated. So it's a sticky situation, I feel like, but it draws me right back to my own self. Like, what part can I play to get closer to Oprah, to understand how she can help me so I can help people through Oprah's help?
What would you do if you were Jordan? Would the answer be any different?
It wouldn't.
There you go.
It couldn't be any different,
I agree.
Right? Oh, thanks.
I'm just curious.
If I'm going to be honest, yeah, absolutely. So it's like we're all doing the same thing, I feel like, in different ways in that aspect. It helps to continue that.
They're so powerful. I can't think of anyone else that's that powerful.
In their own brands, yeah, because they've created their name is a brand, right?
I can't think of anyone else
with this kind of influence.
Not with that positive. I mean, you've mentioned them. Michael Jackson was a great, no doubt in it. Sure. No doubt. Bono, very active, very, very active, and a great. But he's got a lot of bad bad jujus on the back burner, just chasing him down on where he puts his money, how he uses his donation funds and stuff like that. I just can't think of another person that really is in a package like that. I could put myself in their shoes and say, holy crap, what do we do next?
Yeah, right.
With that kind of power, particularly in times like this.
And it has a lot to do with the media too. I mean, their image in the media is really something else.
And then if they do say something, how does that get spun up in the media and on Instagram and the internet now? Wow. It's gonna happen. No matter how direct and clearly and eloquently stated their points may have been, it's gonna get jumbled.
Yeah, it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act either way, right? And so I got to draw it back into my own world and just say, yo, what am I willing to do to continue my own work towards their light? Because they're shining bright. Maybe one day Jordan will see my work. I'm able to make a connection with him, and then I'm truly able to realize what his work means to me in more than one, in a more direct, connected way. It's so cosmic when you start to put your own creativity into the world. You just don't know what other creatives are going to meet your way, and then for me, it becomes about being able to receive that energy in time and not being totally surprised by, oh, I met Jordan, or, oh, I met Oprah. Well, you did the work to meet her, right?
Yeah. So it's about you. And it's not a trick question, but and it's a terrible question because I don't expect other people to want to be anyone else or see themselves in someone else's shoes.
Okay.
It's not a trick question, but it's kind of like, I've never asked someone that. That's a weird question. My apologies.
No, not at all.
But what I would say is it's an experience, right? Sometimes we just try new things to try new things. Dave and I were having a conversation about that this morning over breakfast. I'm not going to get into that specific topic, obviously, but what is interesting is we seek disruption in our lives, right? Wow. Or do we seek complacency and easy?
It's a balancing act, right? It's one way or another. For me, I'm constantly trying to challenge my own self out of convenience, like I was saying a little bit earlier. I can become too comfy and say, yo, I'm not going to work today, but that's not going to add to my business at all.
None. And nor well, I can't say it's not going to expand your mind. You might find something on the television on the couch that might just blow you away that day.
That's why I say the balancing
balance.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So once we find that cool balance to where we can produce without the pressure, that's when I'm at my best, I feel like. And that's when the greats are at their best. I just know, because they're in the zone. They're on fire. What were we talking about? We're in the flow. We're in the flow state. Yep. It's all coming back to that.
Yep.
Nice.
Agreed.
Nice.
And that's why I think that what makes us in spirit and mind and everything so unique is it. Again, it's not a trick question or anything. It's more like an exercise. It's not about what would you do with all that money. Silly. Well, I could think of a lot of things that would be super fun to do with the money, but that status, that person, don't want to be them. And it's not because of what they have to deal with. No, I love who I am. This is fun in my space and time and mind. And when I get to escape that and just get inside here, just like what you're doing in your studio, in your living room, man, is you're doing something all new, unique and special that Jordan can't do, neither can Oprah, for sure.
Way to make that distinction, yo.
For sure.
That's an important distinction for any artist, any creative. The comparison, that it doesn't help so much. And that's a balancing act also. Like to take the inspiration without the comparison so much. And to pay homage to the originator of all creation, whatever that power means to us.
And an appreciation for our only this shot at this, whether it's one or my 10th or I've got 10 more shots at this, I don't know. But I am so grateful for this version.
Thanks.
This version.
Absolutely.
I don't want Jordan's version.
Thanks.
I want this one.
That's something I really had to grow out of, and I'm continuing to grow out of. Absolutely. And then it becomes the balancing act of being of gratitude and placing modesty on the art and the execution of it all. Because I think that's why there's excessive celebration in football, because you'd be always hyped up. There'd be a celebration every single time if there wasn't a penalty for excessive celebration. You can celebrate too much, I think, is the lesson that I take from that aspect of the football game.
You can definitely get gassed on too much of anything, right?
Wow.
Passion. It's overflowing, and that's great. I know people that are like that, and they're exhausted.
Wow.
They can't control the passion switch.
Look, and how embarrassing is it to get injured on the celebration or to get exhausted on the celebration?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. I've had a hangover or two.
Nice. Perfect. Yo, I'd love the balancing act, man. That's what life is really all about, man. I know I always bring it back to that word, but there's nothing like just going through the wavelength and going through what we were referring to as the flow, in conversation, in whatever we're doing, driving, that works, right? That's why we got the freeway now, because the flow. Everybody wants to be in the flow. Nobody wants to really go against the grain, not consistently, because it would be too exhausting, So we find a way to live within society in our own art. I'm finding a way to live within society within my art, put it like that, and I highly recommend it for anyone. I didn't mean to go full infomercial.
No, but that was amazing. Are you kidding? And by the way, I highly recommend it for anyone. But really,
sure,
I highly recommend it to everyone.
Then it becomes important when it comes to flow, you start talk about cash flow. So you start to understand, how can I monetize my art and still remain genuine? And the people's eyes will tell you, the people's mouths will tell you, if you remain consistent and pay attention. It's done it for me. This is all I'm saying. When I say you, I mean me, because that's the connection that I'm trying to make anyway. When I say you, I mean the person that's listening right now to the sultry sounds of my voice.
Right. Or the people that you're just in the mix with.
Straight up.
Me.
Yep. Nice.
That's where it is.
Thanks.
Because I'm taking it away.
Thanks, Lo.
I'm taking all this stuff away with me.
Thanks, Lo. Really appreciate it, man. I feel that energy too.
It's
mutual. Yep, absolutely.
Interesting thing you're talking about with the flow of traffic and the systems, the design of flow as the communities grow. And we have to find a way to live in this flow of a group, a culture, a society, a community, a neighborhood, a family. Get even more micro into it.
Okay.
Even in our own mental capacity, we're constantly working out how to manage our flow. That's crazy. You just put that in perspective for me.
That's
because
interdimensional.
You're talking about balance. Here in your life, you related that to the flow of your day, driving, to the systematic networks of the flow of the neighborhood speed or the freeway speed or the HOV lane speed. And whether you're in a Rari today or whether you're in a, what's on your shirt? A
Pantera.
A Pantera.
Pantera.
Yeah, exactly. Whether you're in a Pantera mobbing down the PCH at 40 or you're on the freeway in a school bus carrying, 60 children behind you.
Right.
You're trying to manage the flow.
You're trying to be where you're at, because if you think you're going 60 and you're going 20, there's a problem. If you're going 20 and you think you're going 60, there's a problem.
No doubt.
With the flow.
That's going to be a problem.
With the flow.
But if you take that very, very simplified version of neighborhood speed to freeway speed and flow down to your mind, are we doing that all day, every second?
Nice.
Managing the flow?
No. It's a challenge to balance that. That therein lies the challenge.
But that's where you're at.
Thanks.
You're working on this.
Thanks.
Is what I hear, right?
Absolutely. Oh man, and it's worth the challenge.
So am I.
Wow.
I'm on go all the time. I got no balance. I'm working that out. I take 2-hour surf sessions here and there. I got to take my breaks. Got to get outside, move around, get my feet in the sand.
Whatever that wavelength looks like, for us all, it's different, but it's about understanding the balance and just being there.
Yeah.
More and more, I'm noticing that's what it's about for me.
And do you think we're drawn to be part of that flow of the network of the community naturally? Or do you think that we're more focused on the flow of ourself and taking care of that first and foremost?
Wow. It could be one of the same. It's a balance of a balance of a balance, right? That's what we're doing. That's what I feel like, because I want to say one way, but then I can think of other ways, you know? And so it's about the next connection that we're able to make. I'm noticing that it's about making myself available to the next person, whoever that is, whatever time and situation puts me in, and just being there with them as long as I can. Trying not to shoo them away with my energy or make it awkward or prejudge them or feel insecure. Just be there and just know that we're made for each other in that moment, whatever it may be. It doesn't matter, and that we have a lesson to learn in that moment and with one another.
You deliver that lesson every time we get together, and I see you do it with the folks around you. And it's a really special thing, and I can't stop talking about it, so I'm going to talk about it again. Is when I first met you, and always when I meet you, it's always a refreshing, like I'm meeting you again for the first time, because you're passionate, you're eccentric, you're there, you're definitely here, you know? But it's a lot for normal people, or even me. Initially, when I first met you, I'm like, wow, this guy's not from this planet. You know, that's kind of my first thought. And with all due respect,
I take it totally as a compliment.
And I'm like, wow, this dude's not from here. I need to get to know this person. Should I keep him at arm's length or should I hug him? So what did I do? I went in for the hug.
You're looking out, man.
And now I found a friendship, something that's more than, you know, the daunting sort of awkward, as you mentioned, engagement that's initial sometimes.
Time and space.
But I want people to know you're the most fun, intellectual, safest, awesome dude. Like you're like, I want to hug you right now. That's how good I feel about interacting with you.
Thanks.
Right?
Because ideas can become tough sometimes, but we got to keep it like, I want to stay friends, put it like that. I want to wrestle the ideas together and not get on one opposite end of the other and get our weapons out. It's just perish of thought. I would rather show each other creation and then vibe off of that level. What do you like to do for fun? What moves you in your world? What makes you happy? These things, they won't make me mad because I understand your intent. And I understand that you come from a certain place and a certain experience, and I won't take it personal.
Exactly. And when is it that these things you're talking about, engagement, when you engage with someone on either a project or an idea or a discussion, you're having to tackle something, right?
Absolutely.
And tackling something, always, that's what we're doing. When we get together, we're going to vibe or we're going to do something. Something's going to happen. Yeah. We're in space and time to not kill time, because time is the most, okay, again, relative, but the most precious commodity that we have in this vessel that we're walking around in right now. So let's make good fucking use of it. Yeah. And in that time, we're hopefully tackling something, an idea, a concept. Maybe we're experiencing each other, experiencing nature, right?
Yeah.
But I'm absorbing that shit, absorbing that moment. And it's so important that if you have a conflicting perspective and you're not open to receiving the other energy of the people around you, and you face it with conflict, as you were saying, right?
Yes.
You will not get to the same end in a happy way. It's impossible, right?
I totally agree.
And if we are together as we are and open to new people, new ideas, new mannerisms, new culture, new everything, please.
We can tackle each other and still keep playing the game.
Yes, please.
And have fun.
Yes.
Wow.
It's
that's
okay
what great players do.
It's okay to slap fight and wrestle around and get in the mix and learn each other's boundaries.
We're wearing some of the greatest equipment in the universe to do that with one another.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's just a pleasure to be able to be on the same field as you, Lo. Thanks, man.
Dude, that was the biggest compliment ever. Yes, please. Thank you.
Let's just continue to
thank
play ball.
You. That's where we are.
Let's play ball.
That's where we are. Projects. I manage large teams. It's the same thing. It's much more difficult to get a team of 100, or imagine being a governor or a president or something to get the teams behind you, right? Much less a family unit. They gotta be there. Wow. Your brothers and your sisters, your friends, your employees.
It's core.
You've got to move people in the direction of good. That's where I'm at.
Your loved ones. Yep. Absolutely.
Yes. And how do you do that? Right? Conflict, beatings, that stuff. It works. It's worked in history. There's proven studies that say you beat on a person long enough, you're guaranteed a particular outcome.
Right.
Time and time again. It's the reality of data.
The waterboarding reality of data, huh?
It works.
All right.
It works, but it doesn't have to be that way.
We are a number in ourselves. So if we put up our own individual ideas about things, if we put up our own unique creations, the internet would explode. That moment, the internet wouldn't know what to do with us, put it like that. Or we would tip it over in our own positive way, in a way of creativity, instead of these walls, these digital walls that have been put up per se.
Imagine taking the hate messages and the negative media and take every one of those posts for a 24-hour period.
Yep.
And flip the script on it.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen? I mean, no one knows what would happen.
Sure.
But the impact that you could have it's impossible to execute. But that insecure person.
Yes.
That posts something that they know is not them. Make it them. Right?
Yeah, sure.
In their most beautiful, raw moment. And say what they really wanted to say in that caption.
Wouldn't that be something?
I'm really making a mess of this because I'm talking about social media. But at the same time, it's brilliant because of its power. And that's why I'm saying this. I've gotten off topic. But imagine if we were truly working together in this system, the speed limits, right? We're working in flow together, which is what we're doing on social media and in the car, as you said.
One way or another,
in our mind.
One way or another.
And if I boil it down to that person that wanted to post this and say the thing this, but it ended up being this and this instead, imagine what they would have to do in this flow to get to that flow, and what kind of flow would happen as a domino effect for that realness. And everybody on the internet thrived on that, and they supported it, and they invested in it, and they said, you know what, dude? You know what, girl? You do you. Yeah. We love that.
Right.
Do more of that.
Straight up.
What would this... Like, can we do that? Can the media just turn that switch on?
Sticks and stones? Is that sticks and stones?
Yeah, right?
Wow, it's just so basic, but it's like, yo, are you going to really let that bother you? Like, come on, like really? And we're real life. We're reality. Let's get in walking reality and prove whatever stigmas, whatever isms, let's prove them wrong in real time. Because they're not going to tell us the real. They're going to give us the drama, which brings the trauma. I'm talking about the media is what I'm trying to, mainstream.
I thought you were going to break out in a rap song, but
not yet. It's not, I don't got the right lighting in here. But I'm talking about just staying together. You know what I mean? In eyesight and in our vibrations, our vocal vibrations, saying hello to someone, it helps them to connect with you. And it leaves you open to say, bye-bye to them or something else. The moment I miss not saying hello to someone, I miss at least 2 other moments with them. I miss saying, how are you doing? Or that extra moment, or I miss saying bye to them when it's time. And it's like, yo, man, you feel that as a human being. You feel that absence. I feel that absence as a human being. I don't know if you've ever felt that awkwardness, but I think it was Yoko Ono that said, or someone to that nature, or some beautiful spirit said, yo, when you don't say what you want to say, you die a little bit inside. So I don't know if that's happening to us one way or another, but there's a lot we can do about it. Well, there's something simple we can do about it, and it's open our mouths and our eyes.
I don't know that we're dying, but we're certainly not living like we could. What's the name of that street that is my favorite street to sit on and watch the ocean down here with you on that bench? Witherby. There's Witherby Street over here, and we're sitting on the bench, me and Dave.
All right.
Taking an afternoon break. And there's a group of folks, a large family, walking up the hill at Witherby, which is rocky, gravelly. And after you've had a long day at the beach, you're tired, and it's a relatively steep hill. And they're carrying ice chests and chairs and all this stuff. And Mama is having a little trouble getting up the hill. And so the rest of the family makes it up the hill, and Dave and I are watching it kind of unfold. Mama's making her way up the hill. And I don't remember if we got up to help her or if we saw her son put his stuff down and race back to help her up the hill, but tried to give her a hand. She looked like she was going to fall down and land on a knee and roll down the hill or whatever, but she ended up making it. Everybody made sure, and we said hello and traded smiles, but it turned into an interaction where the young man, I don't know, how old was he, like 20, 16 maybe, I don't know, came back and said, hey, you guys have a good day. And he had a big genuine smile on his face. His mom was happy, everybody was okay. But we could have just sat there and looked the other way and continued our conversation, as you were saying, to interact.
To take that opportunity. Because it's a moment, it's a few moments that we get, and the closer we get to that moment, the tougher it is to get off of our feet or to say that. I feel like sometimes, like Neo, remember that in the Matrix where his mouth started closing like digitally? It was like really scary. And sometimes I feel like that because I used to feel like that more often, put it like that, because I go to open my mouth and nothing it wouldn't come out. And I'm like, yo, I haven't used that in a while, and it takes that's a muscle like anything else, and the quicker you are to use it, the more the quicker I have been to use that, the more my whole world is opened up. Lo, thanks, man. And yo, I highly recommend it to anyone who wants to do the same in their own world. Yo, is just to be that, just to be just that, be open, be vulnerable. You said tackle earlier. To create
that sounds a little aggressive,
but
sorry.
No, not at all. Because to create a tackle, you have to be vulnerable. You leave yourself vulnerable in time and space. And you're reaching out for something, a basis of something, because you only get so much time and it's gone. So you use that energy wisely and consistently, and it'll pay off, and we'll be able to continue to play the game safely.
Slap each other on the ass right afterwards and say good game.
And keep our own uniforms on and keep our own identities.
It's just a tackle, guys. It can be done in play. It's okay to tussle. I grew up tussling with my mates,
love.
My buddies.
That's love. That's how we get stronger.
My fathers, my uncles.
Wow. Only your loved ones will tackle you playfully. Exactly. You know what I mean? And so let's just learn how to really get it done. And like I use the word consistently because, yo, that's how I've learned, is with consistency. You have the courage and consistency, the talent comes. It has no choice. It doesn't.
Isn't that crazy? We're wired that way. We're literally wired that way.
I just to share with you a little story. I proved it to myself in a couple of fields when I got here to Oceanside. I was in trouble for work and I didn't know what to do. I knew I was useful, but I didn't know exactly what I could do until I went to the local lumber yard and the local gravel pit and just for lack of a better phrase, just took it over for myself. Just wanted to understand the process with my passion and my curiosity. And it started to happen. And I started to break ceilings in my life. And the people that loved me let me go. And they let me go my own way. And so I can't thank them enough in my own mind. I know their names. But it's like they're more of a feeling to me now because I don't know if I'll ever meet them again. And so I just want to thank them in my heart and soul right now for continuing to add to my spirit just with the memories we created in those moments in the field. What I'm talking about when hard work will is a matter of life or death, like is a matter of maim and go home.
Right.
Okay. And so people that that I've had a chance to work with like that really taught me how to work hard in my own work and to take it seriously and to make it mine. Anything that I do is my own artwork, and I want to impress myself more than anybody else, and the world becomes impressed naturally, and we both go our own way without being married and captured by one another.
Word.
Thanks. And
Well
I'm able
said.
to help, and I'm able to help without getting in the way. And that's another thing too, is knowing my own spot and knowing not to take up more work than I have to. This is the balancing act. This is what we probably referring to before.
Totally.
Good looking out.
Wow. Very eloquently stated.
Because in the field, you have to trust your partner.
I understand it.
All right.
Yeah. I understand it well with a military background, is what I mean.
Okay. Yep. Protocol is above all because it's going to keep us safe.
It is.
Whether you understand it or not at the moment.
It's a complicated world we live in, Jesse.
We're complicated organisms, so we're built for this place. So the more we take upon that responsibility and that privilege as cosmic beings, I'm sure we just go right to work.
We do.
Good looking out.
You good looking out.
Yo,
You good looking
It's an honor to
out.
work with you, man. Absolutely.
How can people get in touch with you? Is there anything you would like to say? Well, we're going to have you on the show again, but is there anything you would like to say now that we haven't touched on?
Yo, right now you can find my work at jesseowensart.com. It's JESSEOWINS art.com. And like I said, it grew from a cart in front of a Target store. It didn't happen overnight, and it didn't happen without adversity, but I want to let you know that I'm doing it all to meet you. When I say you know who I'm talking about, because we reverb and like attracts like. So I just look forward to meeting all my people and resonating through my work, and so we can connect and you can show me your work.
Beautiful. And we're going to have all of your links, how to contact you, in the show notes. We're also going to, I hope with your willingness, I want to put a rack with your new line of clothes here in the studio with some of your art as well.
Thanks.
And so you guys can find them here at the COBO Pod, and or hit us up, DM us on social media. We'll get you in touch with Jesse.
That's cool. And my work is already available right here. A lot of my clothing is available at the Skeleton Key right down the street.
Okay.
Dwayne
Sick.
Peters' spot.
Yeah, I know the spot.
Yeah,
I know the
tight.
spot. Also, you're getting involved in local community. I don't know if you can talk about where you're at with that, but you are involved in local community a little bit east inland, right? I forget what the space is.
Thanks. It's right down the bowl off of Douglas and El Camino Real. Actually, it's right across the street from my house. So it just goes to tell you how the universe brings the hard work right to the people that want it, put it like that. And so the work is become the Pyramid Center of Art. And we're creating a space for creative people, and a place where bigotry disintegrates and we can all share ideas, just like we were talking about earlier, where we can tackle these tough ideas that we all feel in a constructive way. I'm learning how to mural. We have a drum circle.
Damn, sounds fun.
Yeah. So the grand opening is soon. I'll let everybody know on my Instagram.
Cool.
Like you said,
we should probably, if there's an opportunity, have you guys in here to talk about the grand opening prior to that. I mean, we'll donate studio time, however much y'all want,
so
if you
cool.
need it.
So
Yeah.
cool. I'll let my people know about that. We really appreciate it. And that's just, making the commitment to connecting the community, and I appreciate that.
I want you to know how much I appreciate you, and finding you as a friend through Dave and local art has just been a blessing. So much appreciate you, man.
I feel that energy, man,
All right.
from the bottom of my heart.
Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for yours.
All right. Cheers, y'all. That's a
Cheers.
wrap.